Dameshek. Dave. NFL. Dave. Football. It's the Dave Dameshek Football Program. Starring Dave Dameshek. Now here's your host, Dave Dameshek.
Hi and hello, football fans. It's your old pal Dave Dameshek. What's going down? I hope all's well wherever you are. Welcome to Side B of episode 67 of the Dave Dameshek Football Program. Available as always on iTunes, and as always seated to my immediate right to help us put a bow on the week's podcasting efforts from NFL.com. It's Adam Rank. What's the poop, fella?
Hey, boss. Thanks for having me again.
Sure thing. Well, listen, thank you for coming in, because this is your vacation week, and you came in, and we did, of course, on Tuesday, if you missed it, we welcomed our newest colleague, Daniel Jeremiah, the newest colleague at NFL Network, NFL.com, a new scribe. He's a former scout, had some good insights on that. We talked quarterbacks in the NFL. It's a quarterback league, right?
It is, apparently.
And then on Wednesday night,
he was the long-lost brother of Handsome Hank, too.
A dead ringer, in fact. As a matter of fact, go to davedameshek.nfl.com. You'll see photographs of him and Handsome Hank side by side, and you'll see.
Striking.
It's crazy. It's like his Handsome Hank's American long-lost twin brother. And then we talked about our old list from last summer when we kibitzed about not just which quarterbacks are good currently, but which franchise in NFL history has had the most great quarterbacks. We talked about that. Put a little written piece up there that you can take a look back at that. It's a year old, but still relevant, and I think still interesting, Rank.
I still like it.
I don't think your opinion is besides the point. It was good stuff. You don't have to come in here and put everything down.
I'm not putting it down. I like the list.
You did.
I like it. Yeah, I do. I'm trying to remember what I said last summer. I would imagine I'm still feeling the same way. Is that the Cowboys, if you look at Aikman, Staubach, Romo, who's okay, and then Danny White, who I feel, and Don Merritt, like that's a really strong one when you put them against.
It's an excellent team.
When you put them against the Packers.
A group of the Packers ended up, in case you missed it, this spoiler alert, but still you can go back and read it, or look at it. But, I mean, listen, Aaron Rodgers is going to the Hall of Fame. Brett Favre is going to the Hall of Fame. And Bart Starr's in the Hall of Fame. That's you can't beat that. That's 3 Hall of Famers. That's it.
They have 4, but I know you don't recognize the NFL before 1958.
Yeah, that's about when I tune in. That's when it becomes relevant.
But they do have another one. So if you want to go one step further back, and if you think of the quarterbacks that came out of Green Bay who went on to be starters someplace else, if you look at Mark Brunell, pretty good NFL career. Matt Hasselbeck, pretty good NFL career. At one point, Kurt Warner was on their roster. Pretty decent NFL career. So not just those guys, but some guys that they sprung.
That's a slippery slope if you're playing that game because the Pittsburgh Steelers had Len Dawson and they had Bobby Lane at the tail end of his career. And they had Johnny Unitas.
Well, Johnny Unitas early.
Yeah. So
that's right.
Right. So if you play that game, then that's tough. That's another fun conversation. It's another interesting conversation for another time. And is of course what region has produced the most good players, and you would probably say most kids, if you're under the age of 25, I would say you probably would guess California, Florida, and that's probably true in terms of total NFL players. But for one position, quarterback, you can't beat Western Pennsylvania. Joe Montana, Johnny Unitas, Dan Marino, Joe Montana, Joe Namath. Who did I say twice there? Jim Kelly. There's a lot of good ones from the region there. Hey, quick thanks before we get into things. Derek Booth from California sent me a package. He knows what I like. If you're not familiar with my work, you know one of my passions in life, along with drinking in the middle of the day.
Oh, day drinking's the best.
Eating food. That's a passion of mine.
You should come to the tailgate party with me this afternoon.
I'd love
I'm taking off
more
to go see the Angels.
No, I'm going to go do some day drinking, and then I'm going to go to my other job at Jimmy Kimmel. But Derek Booth, a swell fella, and surely a proud member of the Czech Republic, because he dropped me a package that included hickory, bacon, mustard.
Wow.
3 words, ooh, la, and la. hickory bacon flavored mustard, Beaver brand. Thanks, Derek Booth.
Doesn't that fly in the face of your assertion that there should only be one mustard, though?
No, because this looks like darker mustard. I'm going to taste it, and this is a specialty one because this has bacon in it. But thank you. Yes, I was you may not even know this, Rank, but about a year or so ago, I was given a doctorate in mustard by the National Mustard Institute.
Wow.
That ain't jive either. That's true. I'm a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
A doctor of mustard. So take that.
Should you be like one of those pretentious doctors who always insist, hey, don't, it's doctor.
Like
Dr. Dameshek, like anybody who's a doctor,
in the credits of the Cosby Show, it wasn't Bill Cosby, it was Dr. William Cosby, PhD, right, or whatever it was. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, let's start doing that. Black tie, Dr. Dave Dameshek. Yes, Dr. Funny Dave Dameshek.
Dr. Funny, yes.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so Black Tie, behind the glass there, our hot news segment. Before we get to another news segment, our debate segment, we're going to get to that in just a minute. We're going to talk about Peyton Manning and what some people out there, what Rank thinks, what I think, and what a couple other people think are the prospects for the Denver Broncos coming up in 2012 with Peyton Manning under center. We'll get into that, but first, Black Tie, the producer, concocted a new segment. It's called The Blacklist, in which Rank and I weigh in on subjects that strike Black Tie's fancy. Hit it.
The Blacklist. Black Tie reads current events. The Blacklist. Dameshek and Rank give their comments. The Blacklist.
How's it going, guys?
Swell, Black Tie.
This isn't going to be soccer again, is it?
Yeah, on Tuesday you brought up soccer. Don't do that.
All right, guys. As Dave mentioned, it's a quarterback league, and as they say, you only as good
I came up with that, by the way.
Oh,
really?
You did?
This is a quarterback league.
Is that? Okay.
Gentlemen, the National Football League is a quarterback league.
All right.
Maybe that was Mark Schlereth.
Anyway, as they say, you're only as good as your number 2 quarterback.
They do?
Who says that?
I've never heard
that
in
I made
my
that
life.
up. Oh, I guess I just made that up.
You're only as good as your
number 2 quarterback.
Really?
All
right.
So Vince Young, Eagles last week, he signed to the Bills. There's some all right number 2s in the league. So my question is, which number 2 quarterback is most likely to win the #starting job?
I don't know. Coming out of are you saying start week 1?
Maybe not start week 1. Let's go with who's most likely to win it first.
Well, I'll say this, that with Vince Young, I think that Vince Young will start at least 2 games for the Buffalo Bills, not because of injury. I think that Ryan Fitzpatrick, I know that Stevie Johnson and Fred Jackson, and there were injuries for the Bills, and they were an imperfect team in spite of their great start, and then they really they spiraled downward after that last season. And Ryan Fitzpatrick, though, got the massive deal and then suddenly went in the can. And I don't mean that, suddenly he got complacent because of that.
No.
But I don't think Ryan Fitzpatrick is as good as Tom Brady in his division. I don't think anybody would say Ryan Fitzpatrick's one of the top dozen. I don't think you'd say he's one of the top 15 or 16 QBs in the NFL. And if they don't win because the Mario Williams signing is big, they have legitimate stars now. Fred Jackson, like I say, Stevie Johnson. They added some nice pieces this year. I think people are going to have raised expectations, and I don't think Ryan Fitzpatrick can live up to those. I think Vince Young will take over. And believe it or not, as much as he's been a punchline sometimes, Vince Young, he didn't have much of a training camp last year. And but when he has taken over, look what he did. Was that 2 years ago or 3 years ago in Tennessee when he took over after they started out horribly, like 0-5, 0-6, even 0-7, and then they won out? But you're right. He's had some flashes where he's taken over a team, taking the Titans to the playoffs. Because he doesn't have pressure. As a backup, when you throw him in there, it's one thing to say, hey, we're hanging everything on you, Vince Young, this season. But if he can play the savior role and come in easy breezy, I think that's the best spot for him.
And you look at a guy like Chan Gailey, who's had success with mobile quarterbacks. There's another thing going for him there, too. When you look at some other situations, number 2 quarterbacks, I feel that at some point this season, Kirk Cousins or Rex Grossman's going to be installed as the starter just because Mike Shanahan is bat crap crazy. just because he's a lunatic. Nobody knows what he's doing. He's going to go send a message to RG3 or something. He's going to throw him out. He's insane.
The Shanatan, don't you see the Shanatan? The sun rays somehow done something to his brain. He does make cuckoo decisions.
Do you think he looks at that broad who does all the tanning over and over and goes, "Yeah, that's a handsome woman."
The New Jersey mother.
Yes,
she's going to be in the clink soon. Yeah, that is.
But also we have. I know these are supposed to be quick. Arizona. We don't know who's going to be the starting quarterback there.
Well,
Kevin
Seattle's
Colbert.
Up in the air.
Yeah, of course, Seattle.
To number 2, then, Black Tie.
All right. So NBC recently renewed Parks and Rec, 30 Rock, and Community. Only thing is they renewed it for half a season. I think about 12 episodes. What do you guys think? Is this a good good or bad decision?
You and the hashtag stuff. Do you want to put some bacon mustard on your hashtag? I'm tempted to crack it right here and now, but seated next to rank, that's a dangerous game.
Yeah, you don't want to do
I may not get a taste at all. Yeah, listen, you've heard me say it before. I'll say it again now. 30 Rock is the funniest show on TV, so I'm happy that it's coming back. It's always in peril every year. It, for some reason, finds no audience, and so I'm not surprised by it. I guess I'm glad we have 12 episodes, and in a world where HBO only makes 10 or 12 episodes season to season. I guess it's the equivalent of that. Never have watched a full episode of Community. Doesn't strike my fancy. And Parks and Recreation is gangbusters, and sad that that one's not going to get to completely play out. Best cast of any show. I mean, top to bottom, everyone on that show is funny. So it's sad, but at least it's not outright canceled.
That's the positive there. And Parks and Recs is one that everybody tells me that I'm missing out on because I watched the first season, felt that Amy Poehler was doing a Steve Carell impersonation, and I wrote it off. Mm-hmm. And everybody told me that was the wrong thing to do, so I don't really follow that one. You're absolutely right about 30 Rock. 30 Rock is fantastic. I think it's too expensive, too. I think they have to spend a lot of money for some reason. I get that's one of the reasons I heard that they're only going to do it for the half season and write it all off. Community, I think, is great. I think it's a quirky show. I
love Joel McHale.
Yeah,
great fella. Yeah, that's right. I've been in the company of Joel McHale.
Is that right?
That's right. Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, lovely man, very funny guy.
Yes.
Handsome devil. Former
football player. Yeah.
Yeah, walked on at University of Washington and I think won a national championship.
Was he on the team with was it Aaron Bailey when he was there, like the early 90s? Would have had to have been, yeah.
Yeah, Steve Entman and all those guys, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, yeah, swell fella, and but I haven't seen the full show, but love the soup. And see, that's nice for him that he gets to fall back on that. All right, Black Tie, number 3.
Has The Office been canceled, though? Is that what?
No, that's the one. I like that show. I thought it was good this season, but I don't know how much meat's left on that bone. But
they went back to the whole thing. Well, at least they ended it pretty quick, where I thought they were going to do another Michael Scott Paper Company type thing, but they did cut to the chase, where Andrew Bernard was actually shuffled back to being the boss.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm not sure how much you can do with those characters anymore. But anyway, I mean, I think
nobody leaves that job.
It's one of those ER kind of places because they're turning over the cast. Carell's gone. I'm pretty sure Dwight Schrute isn't on next year.
He's getting a spinoff.
Right. So that's not being on the show. It's like the Ropers. Three's Company suffered when the Ropers left, did it not?
Absolutely.
Not too much, though, thanks to Mr. Furley. All right, Black Tie, number 3.
All right. Dave, last week you brought this up about texting while walking. That was one of your pet peeves. And
that's right. I can't take it when people – just because finally our nation, or at least our state of California, has caught up with how insane it is to let people text or play with their cell phones while you're going 70 miles an hour on the freeway. And by the way, it's still going on. I see it everywhere. It makes me – I'd rather, as I've said, I'd rather be on the road knowing that everyone on there is drunk than I would with everybody texting.
You know why? Because the drunk driver is at least giving his attention to the road.
Yes, he's looking at the road. These people on their cell phones are looking down. There's no way. I've done it. Everybody has texted at least one time, right? A little bit.
Yeah.
If you're under the age of 65, probably.
Yes. I'm not proud
I've tried
of it.
But all you have to do, you get caught with it like a couple of years ago. One time I was doing it, and I looked up, and I was on top of a car. I almost belted the car in front of me. Once you have that feeling like, oh, I'm looking at the road. No, you're not. You cannot see the road. You cannot see the road. But this walking in the walkway is the next problem because it makes you walk 5 times slower than normal. Get your bum out of my way. But Black Tie, you have great news.
Yep, I do have great news. So it turns out in northern New Jersey, it is now banned to text while jaywalking.
Excellent.
All right, so my question is...
It feels good to make a difference. That's the thing. You know what? Dave Dameshek decided long ago that he wanted to leave this earth better than how he found it. Mm-hmm. And I think this is case in point of exactly me fulfilling my mission.
Anyway, speaking of your mission, what else would you like to see hashtag banned in today's society?
Well, last Sunday I was on the Twitter and I noticed that everybody on the Twitter and on the Facebook loves to send out Mother's Day greetings to their mother. Like, hey, I got happy day to the best ma in the whole wide world, your son or your daughter. I love you, ma. Except that, that's so great. Oh, that's terrific. Except for the person that you are sending the message to has never even heard of Twitter. So what's this message for? I'll tell you what it's for. It's to show the world what a good guy you are. Look at me. Isn't it nice how thoughtful and sweet I am to my dear old ma? Yeah, but she doesn't see the message. You're doing this for everyone else. I say, let's stop this phony garbage and be done with it. Thank you. That's my next mission.
Did you not send a fax to your mother like, hey, happy Mother's Day?
I sent her a telegram. Dear Mo, stop. You're the top, see? Stop. I would like to eat some of your delicious chicken cacciatore like you made when we was growing up. Stop. Happy Mother's Day. Stop.
David.
Stop. All right.
No, I'm saying David, stop.
I figured as much. I knew where you were going. Rank, you'd like to make any societal changes?
Oh, I've got plenty of grievances with people.
You do? I'm surprised by that.
It doesn't seem like me, and it doesn't seem out of my age. What about I want to say the Kardashians. Like, we should ban them, and I know it's kind of the hacky thing to say, like, oh, it's the Kardashians. You know what? It's the people... As much as we want to get upset with the Kardashians, it's the people who still follow them, who make it possible for them to make $45 million watching their television show. You're the bad people.
I've said this. You know what it's called? I've given this a name. It's called the Grateful Dead syndrome. It's the deadheads. It's not people say, I hate, I grew up in a time when the Grateful Dead was winding down, and I went to see them maybe 3-4 times. And it was a gay old time every time, but it's not. But people say I don't like their music. Oh, they're so terrible. And these people have probably never heard their music, but they found Deadheads repellent, and therefore it was somehow that became I hate the Grateful Dead. It's the Deadheads you don't like.
Yeah, and it goes back to what we originally started talking about. 30 Rock is having trouble finding an audience. People, they don't have enough money in the budget and everything, and the ratings are just. But the Kardashians can keep going out and just pumping out episode with spin-offs and all that stuff. And people will watch that, and they won't watch 30 Rock. They'll be offended. They'll be offended with John Hamm when he goes on there and makes an appearance. That offends him, but yet the Kardashians making money does not offend you. We need to figure out what we should be upset with.
Rank, it's my never-ending lament about our society. You just have to accept it. Mariah Carey outsells Built to Spill. In terms of record. Doesn't mean Mariah Carey's better.
No.
You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. The NHL doesn't do as well as Major League Baseball. Does that mean that puck isn't a better sport? Of course not. Well, I know you'd want to argue that. I don't want to get into that debate.
No. I'm not going to get into that debate.
But I like your larger point. That's good. Black tie, is that it?
That is it. Good stuff, guys. I do have to say this, though. Escalators, right? Escalators.
Oh, somebody else wants to make a societal change.
Stand on the right. It's that simple. I grew up
on an escalator?
I grew up in a society where it was simple. Stand on the right so you can walk on the left. Over here, for some reason, everyone stands on
I have
both
another
sides.
one.
Wait a minute.
I like
Hold
that.
the phone. You know what? Take the stairs then.
Take me off
the stairs.
to the max. It's quite simple. If you stand on the right, it's that simple.
You know what? I liked what you were saying, Black Tie, until Rank spoke up. You're right. That's right. Listen, this is supposed to be a place where I'm allowed to stand.
Rest. Yeah, I'm going to
stand on the right.
I've got a bad knee. I need to be on the escalator. No.
Stand on the right.
Take the stairs. Take the elevator.
You know what? You're both right, though, because Black Tie's right. Just create the space so somebody can get into the fast lane.
If it's your only option, I guess there are some instances where you can't help but take an escalator, and I see your point on that.
Here's what I've learned from watching the L.A. Lakers postgame when the Lakers lose a game. Their coach Mike Brown. There's a physical thing that certain guys do when they're suffering bad times. They just lost a game. After game one, Mike Brown against the Thunder, they lose the game, and in the pros game, he's heightened alert when he's being asked a question, like with his eyes and with his facial expressions. Like, the one guy finishes a question and he immediately raises his eyebrows and does that pick his head up thing and like, who's that? What do you got? What do you got? Like, settle down, man. Just don't you're being too much of a good guy here. You're acting like you're a good guy and unaffected by it. I don't buy it. I'd rather you have your head down and refuse to answer questions because you're too PO'd about your team's performance.
I miss him. I'm going to miss him next year.
I told you he was going to be. Told everybody before the season that that he was not going. Just look at what he did with the best player in LeBron James.
It's insane. Like, why would you give that guy another shot when he's obvious? You know, and I think I mentioned this on Twitter. You're talking about it. As I'm sitting, and this legitimately happened. I'm watching the game. I'm like, why are they interviewing? I'm like, oh, yeah, Mike Brown's our coach.
Yeah.
Like, I've tried to be that disconnected. It's ridiculous.
All right, so now let's get it back to football, and we just had a little, I guess, a sort of debate here, Rank. What we wanted to do, I said Peyton Manning, you may have heard in the offseason, he left the Indianapolis Colts and is now in the Mile High City. He's going to be the starting QB for the Denver Broncos, assuming he's in good health. And I think most of us do. And last week we debated on episode number 66, Part B, Side B last week to honor Mario Lemieux, who wore number 66 best. I took the side, along with my pal Mike Dell of LCS Hockey. I took the position that Mario Lemieux is better than Wayne Gretzky and is the greatest player in NHL history. You went the other way with Brian Mermelstein from the NFL over in New York. He defended Wayne Gretzky, and we destroyed you.
Saying he defended it was a little strong.
We humiliated you in this debate.
Yes, but I went on the LCS show last night and made Dell concede because I proved him absolutely wrong.
I don't think that could that there's any chance that could possibly be true. But anyway, so this week we're gonna steer towards the NFL. In upcoming debate segments, we need a good name for this, by the way. Tweet me at Dameshek or Rank at Adam Rank, or both of us, if you please. Tweet us what would be a good name for our debate segment. It's not fully formed. It's like a tag team thing because you'll help, and you find somebody who's of your mind, and I'll find somebody who's mine. This week we're debating how far will Peyton Manning take the Denver Broncos. I say they're going to win the AFC West. And joining me to help support my case is from verticallystripesocks.com. Obviously, if you couldn't tell by the name, it's an homage to those old Denver Broncos uniforms, the brown and mustard uniforms. All things Denver sports. He has a podcast as well. Craig Dodge, what's the poop, fella?
Dave, Adam, so good to talk to both of you today. Very excited to give the Denver perspective.
Yeah, well, we're going to get into Peyton Manning here, what you expect to see out of him in 2012, and I guess beyond that. Rank, who'd you bring in as your tag team partner for this debate?
My first choice was Jay Moore, but then when he picked up the phone, he said, don't call me ever again.
Jay Moore? Why would you go for Jay Moore?
Because I had this conversation with Jay Moore.
What's your fixation with mentioning him? And if you want to talk quarterbacks, why don't we get Dieter Brock? Now that's somebody we could get.
Look at you.
Dameshek in the game.
It counts.
Yeah,
all right. Well played after you were told to concede, but that's okay. It's hard because everybody is of the mind that Peyton Manning is going to go out and have a great season. So I went to a guy that we know from the internet. His name is The Ed. Now, if you're not familiar with him, he's
Ed.
The Ed. You're a little
one of
familiar
my
with
favorites.
Him.
One of my all-time. I think I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. My all-time favorite caller, and the various radio shows I've done, always love getting. He's a super fan,
and it's true. Well, no, listen, it's more than a super fan. I follow The Ed on Twitter. He has been on the forefront of this Peyton Manning story. He was one of the first that broke the news that Peyton Manning was going to have neck surgery. He was one of the first to say that Peyton Manning was going to miss the entire season. He's been on top of this Manning story from the beginning. So I said, who better than The Ed to talk about this?
I can't wait to talk to him.
I'm assuming he's going to take my side where I don't think the Denver Broncos are going to be very good this season. They had a couple of fluky wins last year.
All right, we haven't started the debate yet. What are you jumping right into it? Without, why don't you're burying the lead? Let's talk to the Ed.
All right.
So what's happening, the Ed?
Oh, nothing, man. They called me in today to be the master debater, so I decided I would be the number one guy.
All right, excellent. And, for people who don't know you, you live in Las Vegas, and like I say, you're a super fan, and one of the teams that you really love, the Indianapolis Colts, so you must have felt a little raw about the departure, or maybe you feel good about it, and you're happy to turn the page to Andrew Luck, but that's not the conversation today like we're talking about here. It's focused on Peyton Manning and what he's going to do for the Denver Broncos in 2012, and let's start with Dodge because he's my man, and this is this is after all the Dave Dameshek football program. So I'm going to let you start here, Craig Dodge. Tell us why you think, and by the way, kudos again. I've said Vertically Striped Socks is the podcast and the website name, and a nice tip of the hat to the most underrated uniforms in the NFL, those handsome brown and mustard numbers. But Dodge, tell me what you think is going to be with Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos this year. How are they going to do in the AFC West?
Well, I got to imagine that they're going to win the AFC West. They won the AFC West last year, and they did that without the benefit of a quarterback who could throw downfield.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to assume you're getting everybody back for the most part. I mean, we're losing Eddie Royal. I think that's our big free agent loss. I think we'll get over it. They're going to be strong, and Peyton Manning, I've got plenty of comps. I think the most obvious one is look what happened 1993. Joe Montana hadn't played in the league he had one game in the last 2 years for the 49ers. Everybody thought he was done, finished. He went to Kansas City. And what does he do? Of course, he gets to the AFC Championship game. And this is not a great team by any means. They had only won one playoff game since Super Bowl V, as a matter of fact, up to that point. And, he won two for them that season. And then it took them back to the playoffs again that year. And they haven't made it back to the playoffs yet to that point. And, of course, he was 37 at that point. And, Peyton is only 36. So I think that's the most obvious comp, and just feels like we've got a good season ahead of us.
Super Bowl IV, by the way, is when they beat the Vikings.
When they beat the Vikings.
Good enough.
What's fair to point out there is that actually Montana was healthy in the 1992 season. He was available as Steve Young's backup. Actually played the final game of the 1992 season. Actually played pretty well. A lot of people will say, and I would say this too, if Joe Montana is the starting quarterback for the 49ers in 92, they have a better shot of beating the Cowboys than they did with Steve Young. So he did have 2 years to go with a separation from his surgery. So could you concede that maybe Manning would be better next year, that he needs another year to get healthy?
Well, I'm going to use your own words against you there, Rank, because you said he was great that second year. He was just on the bench behind Young. So if he was great that year, I would have given them a better chance to win. Stands to reason that 1 year may have been enough time to take care of the problem there. So,
all right, so Dodge predicts a division crown for the AFC West. I agree with that. I think the Chiefs are going to be very good, though. Matt Castle notwithstanding, and maybe, who knows, Brady Quinn, if that seems ludicrous to think that you would just drop him in there and he would do better than Matt Castle. But the weapons around them are undeniable. That offense should be potent, even if I were quarterbacking it. And the defense is pretty good with all the guys returning, even though they lose Brandon Carr. But the Ed,
to Craig's point though, Montana was great at the end of the season for one game for a playoff run. I'm not sure that you're looking at a guy who needs to now play an entire season. And that's the thing that holds me up about Manning. But the Ed, we've been waiting to get to. I'm sorry.
Ed, what do you think the Denver Broncos are going to do in the AFC West in 2012?
Well, listen, here's the whole thing. The Peyton Manning, I told you kids a long time ago this guy was broken. He was broken during that season. I told everybody he will not even play one regular season game for the Broncos. Because what the Peyton Manning going to do is he's going to get hurt in the preseason. Because there's a lot of things going against the Peyton Manning. First of all, he don't look good in orange. There's no way that he's going to be able to take that team because he got to wear the blue and the white. Now, he messed it up for himself, and this is not going to count on his legacy, just like when Franco Harris went to the Seahawks. Don't nobody remember that. Mm-hmm. No one going.
Well, you do.
I remember that.
You just remembered it. Though.
I was upset in Super Bowl 40 when he came out waving a terrible towel. Like, how dare he do that to his former team, the Seahawks?
Well, see, I know stuff like that, but most regular people in America, they don't know that.
But this is going to be the equivalent of that, you're saying. This is going to Franco was a blip. I don't know that he ever even – I don't recall him taking a regular season snap. He didn't make it through the season with the Seahawks, at least, Franco.
The last time the Broncos got a Hall of Famer on their team was Tony Dorsett.
Right.
Oh, how dare you.
That didn't work out.
No, it didn't. He hurt his knee.
Listen, Denver's not a good place to be if you want to play football. So that's another time that he's not going to be good because he's going to have to get another surgery. Watch what I'm telling you. I already knew when they said that he got surgery on that last Tuesday, he got it on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
He got it 2 days before the TV said that he got it. They tell you stories, though, but I know all kinds of stuff. I'm like the mountains with rivers running through them. I know things.
Well, all right. I mean, listen, you can't argue. I don't know what your sources are, Ed, but you're absolutely right you were right about what's been going on medically with Peyton Manning. Again, I have no idea how you know these things. But, Dodge, talk about now what Peyton Manning, like you said, to go back to where you started out. They're in the AFC West. The AFC West champion last year was the Broncos, but they went 8-8. That's the only thing that gives me any concern is that maybe the Chiefs should be better, the Raiders should be better, and the Chargers should be better too. So 8-8 is it's unlikely that that'll take care of business in that division. But as you also say, they were doing it with Tim Tebow at quarterback. They were doing it with Kyle Orton. The upgrade they made was at quarterback. It should be a significant one. They should go to they should be a 10-win. They should be a double-digit team this year. And it's not like they only added Peyton Manning. Forget losing Eddie Royal. It's the additions they made around him, some of his old pals from Indianapolis. Try to lay out for me where you think that this Denver team not just winds up in the AFC West, but it seems likely that they should be able to trump what they did in 2011 and win a game in the playoffs, yes?
I would say most definitely, and it's a big assumption. There's a gigantic if in the room. It's the elephant in the room here in Denver, and it's one I'm just choosing to ignore. Yeah, if Peyton Manning stays healthy, and granted, that's a huge if because he's coming off of, 3 neck surgeries? That could happen. I will gladly concede that if Peyton Manning goes down, I don't think Brock Osweiler or Caleb Haney are leading us anywhere. But the fact is that before he had all of these injuries, he was the NFL's Iron Man. Let's just assume that the doctors know what they're doing, that they've got him patched up. They're saying he's good to go. Let's assume that we're back to this Iron Man streak, in which case, yeah, we should definitely...
Well, forget Brock Osweiler. Forget that. I mean, if you have to put the asterisk there, then that's... But, I mean, that is what the Ed's saying is, if I'm misunderstanding, this is Peyton Manning, you're saying, is not going to play at all again in 2012. But again, I'm with Dodge. The doctors would not have him out there throwing the ball around and doing all this jazz if he weren't ready to go. Correct? Or the Ed, you say otherwise?
The doctors don't know, and plus he's had 4 surgeries. He ain't had 3. Listen, he is going to go out there and make a fool of himself. The Broncos had the Tim Tebow, who if they would have just listened and did the things that Tim Tebow told them to do, they'd probably be in the playoffs again and get blown out. But that's as far as the Broncos ever going to do. They're not going to be able to get it. And then, see, when the Peyton Manning gets under there, he don't got all his other friends on the team. He's going to be sad. He'll probably be like, I don't like this out here. I don't like this turf, and these fans don't have on Colts jerseys. He wore orange at Tennessee, and what happened? Not a winner. He had to put on blue because blue represents the best, because that's my favorite color.
I would say still not a winner. How many Super Bowl titles did he win?
He got 1. How many Dieter Brock got? That's your boy, ain't it?
He's got 1 less than Peyton Manning.
Well, but the Ed,
so do I.
Point of fact is, you say he wasn't a winner at Tennessee. It's an interesting point, except for that they shared a national championship, didn't they?
No, that was with T. Martin.
Got that. That was T. Martin who took the Peyton Manning's.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. T. Martin the following year. That's right. Threw the touchdown pass to Peerless Price.
And he don't want to play. He just wants to get out there and get his name out because him and Justin Timberlake got a movie coming out probably, and they'll be making movies and all kind of stuff. And then that'll be another thing that he can do for his career because you guys know he got an Oscar for his. Remember that commercial? Cut that meat. Cut that meat. He got an Oscar for that.
He did. I didn't know about that. So,
but you got a hot dog?
So, do you don't think that? So then, who is going to win the AFC West if it isn't going to be the Broncos?
Well, I hate to say it, man.
But you
Buffalo
will.
Bill.
Okay. The AFC West.
Oh, AFC. I thought you said the AFC. No, Kansas City Chiefs. They got the Brady Quinn, man. Matt Castle not going to play. Plus the Brady Quinn, he got extra super deluxe energy now because the Broncos never played him, and they played that silly Tim Tebow over him. The Brady Quinn is one of the greatest quarterbacks never to play in the game.
Well, I will be interested to see if they ever put Brady Quinn in there. Who do you think's going to win? Who do you think's going to win the AFC overall? Who's going to the Super Bowl?
He said the Bills.
Buffalo Bills, man.
The Buffalo Bills are going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they upgraded what you call defense, and that's very important. See, if the Peyton Manning had defense in Indianapolis, he'd have like about 13 titles in a row, and he'd be like Bill Russell in basketball.
What do you have? Was the defense throwing all those interceptions against the Patriots?
Will Vince Young?
Listen, here what you got to understand, Adam Rankle. Listen, what I'm saying is he had to keep throwing and keep scoring because the defense kept allowing people to score. But see, if you had a defense like, say, Pittsburgh or when New England was good, their defenses didn't, control things. And they didn't have to be on the field as much.
Interesting, except for the fact that Peyton Manning is directly responsible for throwing the game away against the Saints in the Super
Bowl. You know
Bowl.
When
that was the defense.
Benlisberger don't throw the ball very much, so of course. But you see now when he starts to throw a bunch, he ain't no good. Benlisberger was only good when they ran the ball.
You're saying Ben Roethlisberger?
Why you find out they fired Bruce Arians and all. Then they says, "Oh man, we can't have this quarterback throwing the ball. He kills us."
Well, by the way, but when you say Benlisberger, you mean Ben Roethlisberger, right?
That's what I said. Would you know?
Yeah.
Okay, I got a question though. Let's go back to Craig real quick because a lot of people made a point last year that the Broncos defense was keeping the team in the game. But if you look at the statistics, they ranked 20th overall. It wasn't like they were the 86 Bears. Is the defense better, Craig? Is it overblown? Because to me, it seems like people were making them out to be much better than they actually were.
Well, here's the thing, Adam. Von Miller hurt his hand halfway through the year, and his effectiveness was, like, way down as soon as that happened. Add to that the fact everybody got super excited about the Tim Tebow last 5 minutes of the games, and it was exciting. It was a great ride, and I wish no ill will to Tim Tebow. Love the kid, just don't love him on my team. But the thing is, he was going 3 and out for the first 55 minutes of every game. It was pitiful. It was terrible. And as a result of that, the defense was getting, the bends that don't break only go so far. Eventually, you break. And, with Von Miller not nearly being able to put the kind of pressure on the quarterback in the second half of the year, coupled with the fact that they were continuously on the field for large chunks of the game, I think they really wore down. I would imagine, and I haven't done this because I'm not a huge crunching the numbers guy, but if you took their first half statistics, I'm sure they were much better than the second half statistics. I think that you get a chance to sit on the sidelines for more than 3 plays, rest, actually not get worn down for the sake of breaking. I think you've got a defense that's much better. Plus, a defense that's probably playing with the lead. If you're like Tim Tebow and you are always making comebacks, that means you were behind at some point. And when you're behind, it makes it harder on the defense. I think if you can get a Peyton Manning coming out scoring quick with an effective offense, that's going to help the D as well, too. I wouldn't disagree with you that the D wasn't nearly as great as advertised last year, evidenced by the Patriots playoff disaster. But it was a lot better than Tim Tebow let it be, too. So that's what my response would be to that.
They allowed the 9th most points last year in 2011. But a fair point, because if Peyton Manning is there, and at least even if the Broncos aren't scoring, if they're sustaining drives, then yes, then the defense isn't on as much.
What was that word you just threw out? Sustaining?
Yes.
Substaining. Sounds like a stain underneath the original stain.
I like the Ed coming in and being like, that's not a word.
The Ed, last thing is, so you think the Bills are going to the Super Bowl. What? So do you think it's going to be on the arm of and legs of Vince Young, or is it going to be Ryan Fitzpatrick?
Oh, no, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Vince Young, that guy's horrible, man.
Well, he is, but I don't think Ryan Fitzpatrick has what it takes to take a team to the Super Bowl.
Yes, he does, because what happened when that running back they got, what's the kid's name, the running back, Fred?
Jackson.
Yeah, Fred Jackson, something like that. Mm-hmm. Oh, Fred Jackson? Yeah.
That's it.
When he went down, that turned the whole Bills season upside down.
True, yeah, and they had.
When he's going to be healthy, they got Mario Williams and a couple other kids on defense.
Yeah, Marcel Darius is good. Yeah. They did some stuff with the secondary.
And then you're going to say when the Bills, win the division and do all that stuff, you're going to say, man, Ed was right again. Hey, man, listen, I got to ask you a question though.
Yeah.
In the Czech Republic, am I a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Oh, it goes without saying. The Czech Republic, of course, you can track that down. You can track down a T-shirt if you're a supporter of my work.
I don't want no T-shirt.
No, but you should though. At the back at backpagepress.com today, I'm wearing a Rank Amateurs T-shirt though.
I'm wearing a yellow T-shirt with a gravy stain right on the top.
Well, I'm wearing the Rank Amateurs T-shirt for Backpage Press. And I think, let's decide here, black tie, we go to you, the judge. Who won this debate here? Who gets a T-shirt from Backpage Press, either a Czech Republic T-shirt or a Rank Amateurs T-shirt? Was it the Ed or was it Craig Dodge?
As usual, I wasn't listening. But I will say this. Just because the Ed said I should be fired, I have to go with Craig.
All right, there you go. Dodge, you win. You win a. I assume you're taking a Czech Republic T-shirt. You have enough dignity to.
Naturally.
This goes all
naturally.
The way back from...
The Ed, keep your chin up. Keep your chin up.
I'm sick to my stomach.
Don't be sick to your stomach.
A long time ago, when I did a magic trick for you over the phone, I should have won a prize. And now.
Will you do well? That I'll tell you what, the Ed. Will you do a magic trick? Real quick, do a magic trick. Do a card trick or something like that, if you don't mind.
I don't want to. I don't want to do it now. I mean, listen.
I bet Black Tie could do a magic trick. Hey, make the Ed disappear.
Done.
Congratulations, Dodge, and good luck to your Denver Broncos in 2012.
Thank you so much, Dave. I appreciate it. And all the citizens of Denver salute you.
All right. Well, listen, chin up. The Nuggets deserved a better fate against those hateable L.A. Lakers. But you can follow. Yes, it was. But you can follow all of Dodge's work there and all the Denver sports news. VerticallyStripedSocks.com and Rank. What's the Ed's website or Twitter account so people can track him down?
He's at the Ed, right?
The Ed.
The Ed from Vegas.
Yeah, the Ed from Vegas.
I'd have to check. I just follow him.
You really worked hard on your
the Ed from Vegas.
The Ed from Vegas. All right, there we go. All right, there they go. And now we're going to go too. I think that's it. So that makes Dameshek 2-0 in the debates.
No, I won last. No. I won last week.
No, you didn't.
Black Tie. Yeah, Black Tie gave it to me.
Oh well, that's silly.
Okay, well listen. That's the thing. And can you stop bringing ring? I need to realize that you're bringing ringer after ringer. I was joking about John Elway. But it sounded like you brought somebody who was working in their front office.
Well, listen.
I didn't realize that it was, that you're, were so insecure that you're like, well, I got to get these ringers out here. I'm out here trying to have fun,
I see.
Bringing some guys who I enjoy talking to, enjoy listening to. Or
I
even
did the same thing.
On Twitter. No,
I did the same thing. I thought Dodge was delightful.
Dodge was great.
He also happened to not be cuckoo and make predictions about the Buffalo Bills and who wears orange.
He started going. It's too bad because he was on the forefront of this not nonsense, but the story of Peyton Manning.
For all the hooey and applesauce with the Ed, he knows his stuff, and he clearly does legitimately have some inside sources.
But it's the other nonsense that it makes it hard to stomach.
All right, well, listen, Black Tie, fine work. Thanks to Dodge of Vertically Striped Socks and our old pal, the Ed, for joining in on the fun. We'll have another debate segment for you. And, in fact, we'll have a whole new batch of podcasts for you next week. But in the meantime, thanks so much, football fans. It's been a thin slice of heaven.